I mean, the idea of Tucker Carlson being in that mob that day and not wetting his pants is hard to imagine. I mean, I find it hard to understand somebody who has never put himself in harm's way in any capacity for anyone else or on reporting a story, and yet has the audacity to try to rewrite history.
I think that Anderson Cooper is obviously 100% correct. Tucker Carlson would be peeing his pants, and that would be the least of his bodily function worries at that moment. He'd probably be focused on him ruining his $1,000 khakis, if you know what I mean. If Tucker Carlson had to just be near any of his viewers for more than a couple of minutes, he would wet his pants. His entire life has been about inoculating himself from the real world, a real world that he makes more chaotic and hateful and dangerous and discriminatory and xenophobic and all that. He doesn't need to exist in that world. He lives in one of his many mansions behind gates with private security. And the only time he even has a chance of having the real world come adjacent to him is if he spends a couple of minutes in a Bass Pro Shop to take a couple of photos for social media or something. No, it is very easy for him to pretend that that was a perfectly acceptable situation. He has never once in his life been exposed to the sort of danger that the workers and cops and politicians were exposed to thanks to his and other right-wingers' lies.
Well, sadly, they may have spared him, so maybe he wouldn't have been as afraid because he's the one who's part of generating all this hate and distrust and lies that they went and fueled them to this point. By the way, it was Neil Cavuto that I was trying to think of.
Neil Cavuto, yeah, there you go.
He was saying good stuff about it and dispelling it and everything, and they didn't like him for that.
At one point, I was within 30 feet of the rioters. One of them, I was told, shouted out, "Let's get him," before my detail pulled me away and we ran in the other direction. To say January 6th was not violent is a lie pure and simple. I don't think I've ever seen a primetime cable news anchor manipulate his viewers the way Mr. Carlson did last night. I don't think I've ever seen an anchor treat the American people and American democracy with such disdain. And he's going to come back tonight with another segment. Fox News should tell him not to. Fox News, Rupert Murdoch, tell Carlson not to run a second segment of lies. You know it's a lie. You've admitted it's a lie.
But then they've admitted a lot of things are lies and they've continued with those lies. Chuck Schumer is right. They should tell him not to do it, but that should be the absolute bare minimum. They should fire him. They should fire him because they are still cosplaying as a news organization, and you cannot have a news organization with a person like Tucker Carlson, who doesn't give a damn about the truth, about facts, about journalism or ethics, or the audience even. He doesn't care about any of that. He cares about himself, his own position, his own clout, his own pay, that's it. And by the way, if he was fired, he'll be fine. He'll start a podcast or whatever, Spotify will buy it for $100 million or whatever. Rich right-wingers are always being protected by the system and rewarded by the system. I have no doubt about that. But they are facing this lawsuit, a lawsuit that alleges that they knowingly lie about a lot of stuff. Having their most popular host out there day after day doing it as the lawsuit is proceeding kind of feels like it should hurt that lawsuit. But JR, what do you think?
You would think so, and that's what people keep saying. We saw the litany of evidence against Donald Trump. We see the litany of evidence against some of his cohorts. Constantly, it keeps coming out. And we're like, well, this is open and shut. This is airtight. When is it finally gonna go down? It doesn't. It doesn't. It's not the way these things work. Now I'm seeing some reports about all the stuff we saw about Donald Trump happening, and now he's like, yeah, no matter what, as I'm running for president again, there's no way that you guys can do anything to me because look, I'm running. And if you guys decide to throw down some indictments, I'm still running and I'm kind of Teflon now. And the delay happened long enough for whatever reason, not inside the Justice Department or anything, but for whatever reason, the delays and the lack of that last step of doing something about everything everyone has seen is never taken. It's all there. We're up to the point now. At what point do we then think, okay, this is gonna come down really hard for Fox News because we're seeing proof of what we've always known. And of course, Tucker Carlson's not gonna get fired for this, John. What's the matter with you? He's running the company line. This is what he's supposed to do. This is what makes the money. If anything else, as you saw how bold he was, again, in those secret text messages, he was trying to get the fact checker fired. Get this lady fired. She's destroying the company. The company's line is to not fact check, is to not speak the truth, is to lie and to push propaganda. Tucker Carlson is doing that fabulously. He is #1 at Fox News for a reason.